Hi everybody, it's Judith. Today I want to show you how to do the mattress stitch on my fingerless mitts with a seed stitch border. This mitt is finished and you can see the seed stitch runs up the, which would be this part of the glove when you're wearing it. And there's an opening for the thumb. And the mattress stitch is just flawless. You don't really see any seaming whatsoever. If you looked on the inside, mattress stitch always leaves a seam on the inside, but not on the outside. So let's stitch up the mate to that mitt. Here is the one that still needs to be sewn up. And the way that you do mattress stitch is you put the right sides facing you, so right side, and the edges that you're going to be seaming are touching each other. So you're working on the top surface of both sides, not the way you do sewing where you put the right sides together and you sew on the inside. Here we're sewing on the outside. The pattern for these mitts tells you to leave a long tail. You cast on, here's the cast on edge, with a long tail cast on, but you leave an extra long tail for seaming. If somehow you forgot to do that, then you can attach a fresh piece of yarn. You'd have to work whatever you have left of your long tail. You'd have to weave that in and then attach a new long piece of yarn. And you would attach it by bringing your needle up from kind of just right where this is coming out. This is where you would add your fresh piece of yarn. You come up and then you just go around and come up again to secure it. But we happen to have a nice long tail, so we're going to just go ahead and sew these up. So since the tail is coming off the left-hand side, you're going to take your first stitch on the right-hand side. And you want your stitches to be corresponding so that everything just lines up really nicely. So to find the corresponding stitch of where this yarn is coming out, it would be right down here. And you would pick up 2 ladders of that stitch so that your stitch is nice and secure. So 2 ladders. Then from your needle travels from the bottom toward the top, like this. And then we move over to the left-hand side and find the next stitch, which is right here, and you get 2 ladders of that stitch. If you just got one, it would create a flimsy stitch. So you want it to be a nice, strong, secure stitch. So 2 ladders, moving your needle from the bottom toward the top, and then to the right-hand side, same thing. Next stitch, 2 ladders or 2 parts of that stitch, travel from the bottom to the top. You don't need to pull this really tight. We will do that later, so you just have it be kind of loose. Next stitch on the left-hand side, 2 parts of a stitch, 2 ladders, bottom to top. Now onto the right-hand side, 2 parts of a stitch, traveling up to the left-hand side, 2 parts of a stitch, and to the right-hand side, 2 parts of a stitch. And then after you've done just about a little bit of it, like an inch or less, you pull it tight. You hold snugly down here and pull your yarn, and it just cinches right up and just disappears. Now if you were using this yarn, which is by Unling, is really soft and fuzzy, and you want to be careful that you don't break it. So you want to work in small little chunks like this as you go up. If you were happening to be working with a cotton or a silk yarn that's really strong, you could go, quite a ways up before you pull. But with this yarn, be very careful and don't go too far, and be careful not to pull too tight. Okay, so then that last stitch was on the right-hand side. So we'll move over to the left hand side and do another little chunk here. And then over to the right hand side, 2 pieces of the stitch, or 2 ladders if you want to call them that. Over to the left hand side. Right hand side, make sure you get 2 parts. Left hand side. And right hand side. And then we'll tighten up the yarn again. So hold securely down here and pull your yarn. And again, it just disappears. And you would just keep going on up. What the pattern tells you is to go up to within 2 inches from the bottom of this top ribbing. So at some point you'd want to mark that. So we could just do that now. 2 inches is right there. So we'll put a little marker. You can also measure it against the mitt that you just have already finished. Make sure that they match. That's even more important. And then, so you would keep doing the mattress stitch and pulling in little chunks as you go up to the marker, okay? Then you would turn your work around. Oh, you would finish off down here, finish your yarn off, and at the end you'd weave the ends in, so don't cut it really short. You want to still have a tail to weave your ends in, but you do fasten off there. And then start from the top here and do the mattress stitch just to the bottom of the ribbing, of the top ribbing here. So then you have a nice 2-inch opening for your thumb. Turn the mitt inside out, weave in the ends, and you're done. All right, have fun.